Okay. So hello, everybody. It's so weird because I'm going to introduce you, but we're going live also on your page. So this is just
We
weird.
can
But
introduce each other.
yeah, okay, let's do it. So hello, everyone. I'm sure you guys know Brendan. There are no people in Hungary who doesn't know you. So I'm sure they're going to know you. So
Well, if you
before we
don't,
start,
here I am. Hi.
So before we start, we have a good news for you because Brendan and myself are translated by the wonderful and beautiful Adrienne. And we have a Hungarian line. So if you guys want to listen to the Hungarian line, here is the link. I'm going to post it right here. And yes, there you go. Okay. How are you, Brandon? What's the topic for today?
What is freedom?
What is freedom?
What is freedom? Oh my goodness. That thing that all of us say that we want. And then when it comes, you're like, ah.
Yeah, right. My camera is not working. Okay. So yeah, that's not what the camera I wanted to use. Okay, it doesn't work anymore. Okay, that's okay. Because I'm using the other camera, but I'm like, why am I looking here? And it's just weird.
There you go. You have been up since 4 a.m. So you get a pass on that.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not sure what's the issue. So when I invited you for this Facebook Live, I was like, hey, can you come up with the title? Because I'm not sure. And you right away, you got back and you said, okay, let's talk about freedom. Why you're talking about freedom?
Good question. And it's so interesting because I actually did a live the other day. I did a live the other day called The Uncomfort of Freedom. And, we named this What is Freedom? And the last few weeks of my life have been so uncomfortable in getting present with this topic. Because I think for a lot of us, it's something we ask for. We're like, oh my God, I just wish I had more freedom. But we create our lives based on no freedom and no choice. And so, so many parts of this. But I mean, you've heard me talk a lot about my struggle with alcoholism. And then in the last few years, my journey with sobriety. Well, alcoholism was in the beginning, alcohol used to give me this sense of freedom. It was a way that I would separate from anything in my life that I decided I couldn't handle, that I decided I couldn't control, all of those things. So I would use alcohol as if it was this source for freedom, when what it turned out to be was something that actually separated me from everyone and everything and gave me no freedom. So there's so many things that there's so many lies that we buy that twist us out of being with the idea that it's actually going to give us more of something and it gives us less. And so this has been an adventure in looking at it lately. And one of the things that we've talked about, and if you've heard any of the stuff I've done recently, or Dane's been talking about a lot, any of the stuff in Access, is this thing called autonomy, which is basically seen as autonomy is seen as a rightness or a strength in this reality. It's something where it's about having individualization. It's about having your own point of view. It's about having your own, basically creating yourself as your own separate item. And which is like, I mean, we grow up with that. You grow up with you grow up with almost like this fight to know who you are, this fight to have you, rather than actually the ability to recognize that when you're truly being you, you're connected to everyone and everything. And that's the part for myself personally that's been interesting to look at, where I've created myself as separate. And with this topic of autonomy, in looking at it, anywhere you create yourself as autonomous, you have to create yourself as a separation. There's no freedom. And I don't know about you, but I had so many things throughout my life where anything would trigger me and I would separate. anything would be too much for me, I would separate. And I've noticed even in the last few weeks with getting more present with this, where, you know, I'd get really uncomfortable, or I'd be really strange, or I'd get cranky, or I just wouldn't want to talk to people. So my way of being with that or not being with that was to separate, which is all autonomy.
Do you think, because I talk a lot about wanting to be alone, and I am a loner, do you think there is something to do with this?
Well, it's, I mean, with something like that, I mean, I think we all like a lot of us like our alone time. But, you know, one of the things I realized for me was I didn't do alone time from choice. Once again, I did it from separation, and I did it from reaction. And I think the thing with this topic of what is freedom is recognize that freedom exists with choice, and freedom exists in action. It doesn't exist in reaction. So anything we're in reaction to, you've already become, you've already gone out of choice with. And so with alone time, because I do too, I love my space. I love my alone time, but I also know when I'm doing it from autonomy, when I'm doing it from let me separate, when I'm doing it from I just want to escape.
Oh. I think I do it all the time in some ways.
But here's the thing is I think we all do. And like, because if you look at, and this is one of the things I love about, one of the many things I love about Access is this is a constant, it's a constantly expanding exploration into more. So you get to something like this and you're like, man, I think I do this a lot. And rather than it be, oh my God, now I'm bad, it's like, wow, how much have I been connected to everyone and everything based on separation, based on the judgment we create with that, rather than actually being in communion with all of it. And so like with something like that, when it comes up, because I don't know many people who don't do this, you know, like who don't do that, who don't do, see, because if we look at judgment, for example, judgment is a source for separation. Anything that anything that you judge, you have to separate from everything that doesn't match it. We do it with decisions. We do it with conclusions. We do it with trying to come to an answer. We do it with all of those things. So anything that doesn't match it, you're now separate from, because all you can see is what you've decided is. And this is where I cannot tell you the I cannot tell you the uncomfort that has been up with this. I was having a conversation with Gary Douglas last night, and he was like, "How you doing?" And I was like, "I am so fucking strange, and I am so uncomfortable, but I'm good." Like, because also in the past, I would have been like, I'm so strange and I'm so uncomfortable. What's wrong?
Oh.
Yeah, and this is just a different possibility, and I think we're opening. Well, my sense is there's a different space available for those who go, you know what, I'm kind of like, this isn't working for the bigger life that I would like to have. Like, for anyone listening, how many of you would like to have a bigger life? But also, how many judgments of you do you have that don't allow you to create it? You know, so where it's like, I'd like to have a bigger life, and here's where I'm not creating a bigger life, and I can't have a bigger life because of this. And you're constantly looking at why not, rather than being a question of what's it going to take for me to actually create everything I desire.
It's so cool. I got an invitation to the Hungarian Unity Flow Summit. It's going to be in the end of October, and I wanted to send my speech also to the Unity Europe, because I think everything we talk about is just so interesting. And I was just wondering, like, what should I name my speech? And I I got out with the title. It's called Fast Track in Consciousness. And when I was just, because with my accident, before my accident, I used to think, oh, this is it. And I hated my life. Always. I always hated my life. I felt like it's not big enough for me. And then when this thing happened to me 9 years ago, I just got on this fast track of consciousness. It's just everything got so fast and just amazing. And I never heard anyone talk about having a bigger life, or just I never even thought that I can have a bigger life. And it was so interesting today, just because I had to record it in Hungarian, and then when it was done, I had to record it in English, and I went through the whole process. And exactly what you just said was the conclusion for me. Is like, you can have a bigger life if you want to, if you desire to. And what does that mean to you, and how you create that, like how you get there and how you get your freedom. And what was so interesting, because I never thought about this way, but what came out for me, I'm like, when you start to ask questions around everything, and then you become so curious about everything around you, and then when you get to the next step of not living from this moment, because when people live from the moment, they have to be in reaction all the time, because someone asks you, I don't know, do you want to get coffee? And you're like, yes. And then the next second you are like, oh, fuck, I didn't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to do that. And then we are in reaction all the time, and we don't give ourselves space to choose, ask a question like, hey, do I want to do this? Yes or no? But you don't live your life from 10-second increments. You live your life from reaction all the time, from this moment. And you have to react right away. And what I find with my life and creating a bigger life was, for me, starting to ask questions, even though I thought it's just too simple. It's just so fucking stupid simple. Like asking a question, come on, that's it? No. If that would be it, people would change their lives. But no, people don't change their lives, because that's how exactly they react to, hey, you should ask a fucking question. And when you start asking the question, you become curious about things, and then you realize, oh, I was wrong here. I just had all these answers. And then when you get to the next step, is when you give yourself some space and some time, not, and then you don't live your life from reaction, that you give yourself the space to ask a question around something, and then you can see what you can create. And just as I was walking through this, it was just so amazing to see how simple it is to become free and to be, just like creating your life, what you desire, and it's always bigger than you thought that you can have. It was just so amazing. I'm like, so it's so simple, so simple.
Well, but you know what I want to say with that too is there's a simplicity to it, but it takes extreme tenacity to live from it, because it is simple. Like you would go, okay, so to ask a question like, okay, what's true for me with regards to this? Or if I was truly having my point of view, what would that be? Or what are the infinite possibilities with this? Is being, like you said, when people do moment by moment with without being present, then everything's about reaction, which is that whole topic of autonomy. You can create yourself. You now live. You can. You now have reason and justification to reject anyone and anything that doesn't match who you've decided you are. But from this space of question is where the freedom exists, because everything's about recognizing that it's not about creating control. It's about having awareness. And but it takes, like, I noticed for myself, like I remember Gary said this thing once in a 6-day event right at the end of it. And it just is one of those things that he says, and it's just there all the time. he said right at the end, and then he just shut up and ended the class. He said, if you want to change the world, get present. Class over. And I was like, I so want to be like, what the fuck? Like, what? But if you look at that, is if you're present, you can receive. If you're in reaction or conclusion or answer or decision, any of those things, judgment, then you can't receive. And so with that, like if you could be present in each moment of your life, like you said, with 10-second increments of choice, okay, I got 10 seconds, live the rest of my life. What do I choose? 10 seconds is over. I've got 10 seconds, live the rest of my life. What do I choose? And you get to about 10 choices and you're just like, oh, Jesus Christ, can I just go back to autopilot?
Yeah. Thank you for saying that, because that was exactly what I said, is that, so for me, I know this is not just it, but for me, living from, let's say, consciousness, or creating your life from consciousness, for me is you stop living your life from autopilot. And I never realized that this is what changed for me so much in over the years, is that I ask questions around everything. I change things every single day. I used to eat the same breakfast every morning. I used to have breakfast at the same time every morning. I used to drink only coffee on the morning. Now I do tea, coffee, sometimes nothing. And there are mornings when I'm really hungry, and there are mornings when I can't eat. And before, I had this, life where I did everything exactly the way it was yesterday, and I never changed anything. I was talking the same way, I was saying the same things, like telling my fucking stories. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like over and over, repeating. And I had this life where I was just like repeating everything every single day, and I was wondering, why am I not free? Why am I not happy? Why my life sucks? And why is not fucking changing? I need to change this. And
along comes the accident. Along comes the universe. Here you go. Now you want to change it?
Yeah, but
But true though. But you said, yeah, exactly though. But see, the thing that you said too, which I love, is you had your life, and that's where, oh, man, Jesus, have I done this one? Where it's like, let me create a life, the life that I think I should have, rather than what's living. And hearing you with this is going from life to living, going from I've chosen to what choice do I have in each moment. And it's like, you're an inspiration. I love I just love seeing you burst into the world.
Thank you.
And you're just continuously looking at what else, and you like to contribute, and that was the other thing that I realized for myself, and I'm going to say this because I think a lot of us can relate to this, is with this thing of autonomy. Like if you look at even growing up, was how much do you have to try and create yourself as something separate to have you? Break free of family, break free of everything everybody told you were going to be, break free of everything in order to have you. That creates this constant separation, and you're constantly looking for what is out there that's going to validate this. And so I realized for myself that I just had this thing where I was constantly looking for, how do I put it? I was constantly looking for what the world had to offer me. Rather than, and I had some conversations, and I had some different things come up. I was actually having a conversation with Gary again. And one of the things he said was, he says, I don't look for what I can get from the world. I look for what I can contribute to it in every moment. And I was like, wow. And that is, we think we're going to get something that we lack, rather than be something that we can be for all of us to become greater. So that's been my new awareness or ask in the last few weeks also, is waking up every day and just being like, okay, what gift can I be for the world? Like, what can I contribute, rather than what can I actually contribute to this world being greater? And I offer that as a question for everyone, because how much more would your life expand if you were willing to be the contribution that you are? Are you on mute, or did I go radio silent?
No, I'm having some tech issues with StreamYard recently, even yesterday. So my mic is not, I don't know, and my cam just not working. That's why I'm like, sometimes hold on.
Got up at 4 a.m.
Can you see this? It's like black and then back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know, but before I got on this, my phone was going crazy and my computer wouldn't turn on. So I was like, okay, it's going to be one of those days. They're good days. Shit's changing.
Exactly. Yeah, I woke up 4 a.m. Fuck, it was so early, and it was a long day for me. But I'm not tired at all. I could use some space, but after this, I will hang out with my dog. That's it. This is what I'm gonna do. I love these long days. Sometimes I enjoy it. Sometimes I just can't do anything. That's my freedom.
Well, how much energy? How much does it contribute to you being everything that you desire to contribute to the world?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things, it's been interesting being here. I've been in Elgar for a month.
Yeah.
And it's been one of the things I've been asking to learn was, I realized a few weeks ago, I was like, I am crap at receiving and crap at relaxation, because the two basically go hand in hand. And, and I always had this thing of myself that I was just lazy. So everything I did was about proving that I wasn't lazy, which was kept me in this constant state of proving. And I was like, okay, I'm going to ask this place, this land, the energy here, the space, to show me what true relaxation is, but also receiving. And it's been, it's interesting, because we have this idea also that we have to work at change. Like, I've got this thing in my life and I'm going to change it. I'm going to work at it. I'm going to work at it. I'm going to work at it. And in that, we're in this constant state of push, rather than actually the willingness to receive something different. And I know for me, and I'm not sure about you, but every change, and especially the bigger ones in my life, has come from the willingness to have something different. And I had this, I wrote a list. I'm going to tell you this. I wrote a list the other day of what I would like my ideal life to be in the next 10 years.
Okay. Tell me, what is it?
So, so I wrote this list. Well, I wrote things like, for me, on the top of the list was to be sober. Because I know for me that I don't have a life in 10 years if I'm not. That's where I choose destruction and no freedom. But one of the things on there, and again, there was a conversation that I was having with Gary. He said, go and write this, go and write down and see what you get. And then I was like, and then I went back and I talked to him about it, because the second thing on my list had to do with what I desire in the world, with contributing to recovery and addiction. But I had it written out in a way, and I don't remember how it was written, but it was kind of this linear thing of how I would like to basically kind of be an authority on this topic and get access into clinics and stuff like that. And he looked at me as soon as I read it, and he said, wait a minute, tell me about the energy of what that is for you. And as soon as he said it, my whole universe expanded. And I just went, you know what? I just want to be fucking honest. I want to be honest with the world about who I am. And I just want to show up. And he was like, that's it. Write that down, dum dum. And I was like, but like, how much do we do that? Like, even in looking at our future, we'll look at what's the future I should have. And now how do I ask for it in the right way so that I'm having the right future and everybody else can tell me that it's it. And when I got that part, it was such an interesting awareness of what I truly desire to be in 10 years time. And so I offer that as a tool for people. Like, go and write down what would be, if you could have anything as your ideal life in the next 10 years, what would that be? And so here's the next part, though, that has been an interesting thing for me, is looking at, for the last few days, looking at all the things that I've been choosing, all the things that I've been choosing that I've been unwilling to lose, that based on that unwillingness to lose them, that future is basically a fantasy. You know, and I was like, fuck, if I keep this, see, because how do I put it? One of the things that this is great for is getting a sense of what you would like to have as your future. Is now you have an awareness of that energy. So now in order to get there, what you want to do is you want to start choosing anything that matches that energy. But here's the other part, is you want to stop choosing the shit that doesn't. And that's where you're like, that's where for me it's this accountability. It's looking at it and going, okay, here's where I'm not being everything I am. And if I truly desire that future, this choice is not going to get me there. This reaction to people is not going to get me there. This need for separation is not going to get me there. This judgment I have of myself is not going to get me there. What's going to get me there is different choices.
Yeah, different choices. I like that. So true. I actually have to go back and I refer to that speech I did today, because that was the other thing I said, is like, it was so cool to talk about this, and then realizing how much I changed over the years with this, and realizing that life is not just happening to me. I am the one who creates it. And I used to be the biggest victim of all times in my life.
Sister.
You too?
Yeah, me too.
And I thought everything just happens to me. Life sucks. People sucks. And everyone just like, blah. And then when I realized in my first foundation class that every single choice I make, it creates something. And I was like, well, then I might just create it my past. So that's a bad news. And at the same time, it's a good news. So if I created it, I can create another one. I can create a different future. And, you know, this is what is really interesting for me with questions and 10-second increments, which is so huge in my world right now, because I realize, oh my God, I really need to do this even more in my life, because when you're willing to ask a question around everything, every single choice you make, and you're willing to not like slowing yourself down, but giving yourself the space to ask a question, is like, hey, what this choice is going to create in the future. And I remember when I started, I was asking this question with everything. Like, if I drink this coconut water, what is going to create in my life or in the future? And, you know, with everything. And basically I was building a muscle with small things. And then when I started to realize that every single choice I made, because, you know, that in my head, I was like, oh, that big significant choice, which I will make, will change my life or the course of my life. And I realized that I can't just wait for the big significant choice that I will make will change my life. I really have to choose small, like creating my life with small choices, like really small choices. And this is what, when people ask me, like, how did I create this big, huge business in Hungary? And like, how did I do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I chose so many things over the years. Like some things led me to bad results and some things led me to good results. And then I got more awareness and then I got stronger and I fucked up so many things. Like I, because so many, what I see with people who come to my class is they're not willing to make bad choices. They are not willing to choose that. And it's not leading you anywhere if you're not willing to make bad choices, because then you are not making choices and because you don't want to fuck it up. But you really have to be willing to. And I think this is your story also with everything you just share with yourself. And this is for me. I'm like, I made so many bad choices, so many bad choices. I can't even, some of those because I share with you. When I whine, I call you. I'm like, Amanda, ask me a question, please. But I made so many stupid choices, so many. And
all of them got you to here.
Yeah, exactly.
I love what you said about, and this is huge. This is huge because I agree. Everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of us look for what are the big choices that I can make to change my life. And what you said there was you changed with it was all the little choices, and you build a muscle with that. Like asking, "What's my life going to be like if I drink this coconut water?" That I love that because it's building a muscle of being present with your choices do create. But I've done that so much too, of looking for, what's the big choice I need to make to change this, rather than what small choice can I make today? What are the small choices that I can make that would create a different possibility right away? And that could be anything. Like you judge less today, which judgment is a choice we have in every moment, judgment or no judgment. Yeah. You have less judgment of you and the world around you today, your life gets greater. Your life will be bigger tomorrow. You're right there, like that. So if you're present let's say you're 10% more present in your life today, so you have 10% more choice available, and you choose not to judge, you choose to be in allowance and in question with the things that you haven't been willing to be present with, your life's bigger tomorrow. What's it like the next day? What's it like the next day? What's it like the next day?
Yeah. So
Which is what I've seen you do. It's, and it's amazing.
I never stop. I realize I can just, I don't know, I never stop. And it's so interesting. I used to complain a little bit that, oh my God, I'm so busy. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. And then I realized, no, I don't. I just like to complain. I just like to be like, cranky all the time. Okay, I can't believe I'm so busy all the time. But at the same time, I'm so bored when I have nothing to do. When I always want a schedule empty. And I'm always telling my team, I'm like, hey guys, when the day is coming, when my schedule is empty, there is nothing in there and I can do whatever I want. And it's not coming. It's just not coming. And I really have to just change my point of view around that and just enjoy. And I heard once Gary and Dane saying about each other that they just like to be cranky sometimes, and it's just fun. And I realized, I like to be cranky and it's fun.
Me too.
Yeah.
And do occasional drama and do, it's like, and see how much control I can have and, all of that. And that's the thing though, is what if we could have allowance for us in that?
I think this is freedom, right? When you can laugh, because what I see with people is
it's definitely freedom when you have the ability to have humor with yourself.
And also just being vulnerable with yourself, because I just had a foundation class. It was just so funny. I shared everything, even the fucked up things that no one would share with other people. I do share because that's me too. And I can see how much freedom it creates in people when you are willing to just, share your stupidity, because I'm not perfect at all. And it's just so fun. And I think this is also freedom when you are willing to be vulnerable, not just with others, it's like, but more likely with yourself, because
Yeah.
when you are willing to be vulnerable, and I like that about you also, when you fuck up something and then you are like, oh guys, I just fucked this up, sorry. And I do the same. I'm like, oh, like yesterday, Christy and I, we had a conversation about something, and I was just like cranking. I'm like, I can't believe this. And she was just so calm. And I was like, I felt like, I'm like, really should not do this. um I don't know why I'm doing this. And then I was just thinking about what she said and the situation, and then I started to calm down, and I'm like, wow, it's not that bad actually. Like, I'm sorry about me being cranky. And she's like, oh, I went through the same process, but when I called you I was already calm. And so I'm like, oh, I thought you can be just so calm. And we were laughing, but at the same time, it's so cool, because I left her a message today saying, hey, it's so interesting, because this was the first time that this topic came up and it triggered me. I went through my process, and today I look back and I'm like, I was just so stupid, because I really need to change this, because I want my company to grow. So I really have to step up. So in order to step up, I need to have bigger choices. So sorry, guys. And it was just so much freedom in there, that I was willing to see that I was stupid. And yeah, the small me who I was 5 months ago, or I don't know, 1 year ago, would say that. My
I
personality
like that you
would
call
say
that
that.
the small Nicolette 12 months ago.
Yeah, it was a lot less me. And
Yeah.
there is so
But
much more of me now.
yeah, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And also, like, with what you're talking about, the need to not be right gives you access to freedom. Because
Mm,
we can all relate to this one. Needing to be right or needing to be wrong, which is usually the same thing. Because people will either tend to function from either a lot more of the need to be right or a lot more of the need to be wrong. And if you look at it, like, I would have been someone who would have done a lot more of the need to be wrong. But when I look at that, for me, I more need to be wrong so that I can prove that I'm right with being wrong. And so, but it's all judgment. It gives you no access to freedom,
mm,
rather than what you're talking about, like looking at something and going, wait a minute, if I'm going to have this bigger life, choosing this is not going to work. You don't have to be wrong for it. You don't have to make it right. It's just, okay, what can I choose today that would outcreate who I was yesterday?
yeah. Wow. I like this conversation. So cool. I actually feel so much better than when got to I got
Well,
home.
I love the thing that you said about, you did this foundation class recently, and you talked to people about things that you wouldn't have usually talked about. Like, you just opened up. That to me is such an invitation. Like, what would it be like for all of us to have more willingness to just have the vulnerability with ourselves, but also the willingness to show up regardless.
Yeah.
To just show up and be like, hey, here I am. I got some really cool things. Jesus Christ, I'm a recovering alcoholic and an access consciousness facilitator, and I'm fucking awesome. And I'm also a fucking idiot. Like, I choose stupid shit too. But it's like, but it's all part of the journey. And, it's like, I don't know about you, but I've seen so many people with trying to find the answer, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
How about if we're all there with the ability, based on our difference, to be a contribution to each other? There was this question in the CF class that both of us were on, recently, the certified facilitators class that we did, where Gary said, I want you to go and have a look at what does being helped mean to you. And I looked at that question and I was like, what does being helped mean to me? And I was like, basically for me, I had it as meaning being saved. If I need help, I need saving. You know, I need you to come along and fix this for me. I need you to give me an answer, and I need you to help me out of this. And the next day, he started having a conversation about it. And he was like, what if asking for help was actually the willingness to receive? You know, so where we go from having this autonomous path of our own journey to, hey, I'm a little stuck with this. Do you think I could get some help? I'd really like a different awareness. I'd really like a different possibility here. And I want help. You know, and where we're all there, where we all open up and share ourselves, share the unique differences that we are, and be, hey, I get it. You know, I'm here.
Wow.
That's the world that I would like to have a lot more of.
And as I heard, you are so much more active that you used to be. Share more where people can find you. Yes,
what do you mean?
active means you have Facebook Live.
I am just just all over the place. I started, you know, so one of the things that I did is I went, you know what, I haven't really been, backtrack. One of the things I've been looking at is where I haven't been committed to me, committed to my life, committed to my future. And I'm like, okay, cool. So fuck that. And what's it going to take for me to change that and actually commit to it? And once again, see what I want to say about this and about all the things that you've talked about is it's not one choice. It's a continuous choice in every day that you make to commit to you. It's a continuous choice that you make every day to get out of judgment of you, to get out of, you know, to create your life. And so for me, it was like, all right, I'm going to start committing more to me, committing more to my life, committing more to my targets of what I'd actually like to have in our world. And so I went, all right, one way I'm going to do that is I'm going to start having some more accountability and consistency with showing up. And I was so grateful for early on in my sobriety, I had this, I had a sponsor with Alcoholics Anonymous, right? And this guy was a fucking asshole.
Like what way?
Just a judgmental asshole,
Yeah.
right? And so rigid and so structured and so just angry and, you know, hated the world. But you know what? He was perfect for me at the time. He was exactly what I needed because I needed structure. And so one of the things that he made me do was he made me call him every day. And I did not want to call this guy, but I did every day. And he said, I want you to learn about accountability. And I will be forever grateful for that part, because what it got me to start becoming aware of, where I wasn't, I could leave my life in a heartbeat. And that was one of the things that drinking gave me. You know, it would be like, okay, this is too tough. I'm gone. You guys deal with that. I'll be over here on the sideline. You know, I'll just disappear until it's better again, and then I'll come back. And, you know, I was like, you know what? No more. And so it's been helpful in the creation of my life, because when things get, you know, like I had a couple of lives that I did the other day and I was so uncomfortable. And I realized that in the past, I would have just went, no, I'm too uncomfortable. Let me reschedule. And I was like, I'm going to show up and talk about it. I'm going to show up and talk about being uncomfortable. I'm going to be present and be vulnerable with people. And so I started doing these lives every week. I do on Tuesdays, I do my lives on social. And then on Wednesdays, I go live in my Telegram chat. And they're just great, because it's just like, hello. Let's talk about something.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah.
Well, you actually inspired me to that too, because for any of you who don't know, this is something I don't know if this wouldn't be my thing, But Nicolette told me, I don't know, a couple of months ago that you had been doing your membership for over 3 years and you had done a daily recording 5 years.
Yeah.
You had done it and you haven't missed one day.
No.
There you go, people. Out-create that shit.
Yeah, I started in, oh no, actually you're right. I started 2020 March of 2020. 1st of March.
So 3.5 years.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
But every day you've done it, you've shown up. And I know you haven't wanted to show up on a lot of those days, and you have anyway. And this is the way that you begin to create a bigger life. Also, is don't let your feelings determine your choices.
Yeah.
Don't let your feelings stop you, because feelings are always a diminishment. They're always a lesser version of you. And that's what I got good at. That I was like, I don't feel like it, so let me leave or let me separate, rather than, you know what, I might not feel like it, but it's going to create a greater possibility by doing it.
Yeah. It's so interesting because in these 4.5 years, actually, so not 5, 4.5, but in these 4.5 years, I had days when I had no voice for a week. I was sick. I had a surgery, a couple of them, actually. I had so many things going on in my life. And I just, when I think about it, it's just insane how much things I went through. And I didn't miss a day. I did it anyway. And for me, so this is interesting because someone told me, I don't know, 7 years ago that I should talk. And I was like, yeah, I don't know how to do that, so I can talk to people. And what would I talk about? And then she kept telling me, she's like, because I was like, I gotta do bars. I'm gonna touch people, shut up, and then just do my magic. And she kept telling me, she's like, you have to talk to people. I'm like, but I can't talk. I don't know how to do that. I don't have the ability. And the other hand, I was like, yeah, how you make money out of talking? Sorry. And, in my head, when I started counting and I moved to San Francisco and I was living there, I'm like, okay, I don't really speak the language. 1. 2nd, who I talk to? All these people are rude to me. Everyone wants to talk about politics and stuff. Not everyone, because I had good friends. But in the meantime, that was my experience. And I'm like, no one wants to know about my things. So when me and my husband decided to break up and I moved back to Budapest, and then, that's when my life started to happen. And it was so funny because talking to me was in Hungary. So I had to come back. So I thought it was the worst thing that happened to me, but it wasn't the worst thing. It was just something amazing because it shifted my life in ways that I never thought. And I came back, and one of my best friends, back in the day, he was like, hey, I think that you have a topic to talk about. You can talk about your divorce. I'm like, I'm not going to talk about my divorce. Like, no fucking way. And he's like, yeah, but you don't have to share like details, but you can tell people what you are going through and then what tools you use. And I'm like, oh, well, that's a good idea. So I started to do a weekly Facebook Lives every week, same day, same time. And I fucking hated it because I didn't want to talk about my divorce. I didn't care. Like, it's like at the beginning, it was a thing for me. But then at some point I was like, yeah, this is just boring for me to talk about the same thing every single week. So I started to add things, business, body stuff, blah, 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 like things that happened to me. And I did it for like 1.5 years or something. Like I showed up every single week and I got so many bad comments on, how I looked. And I was just so annoyed because I hated to do that. But it built my muscle some ways because I was never committed to my life. I was never committed to something. And then it started to build my muscle. And when I started to do my business, I wasn't creating audios. So I created a membership and I was like, I have daily content. And it came from me wanting to give a lot, right? Like I couldn't do a program, let's say 21 day, that I don't deliver something every single day. So I was like, okay, we have a daily content and we have a couple Zoom calls. So I started to do that. And I, as a content, I was doing ebooks and I don't know, some, kind of materials. But some days I created an audio. And I realized when I was sitting in front of my computer, on those days when I had to create an audio, I was so happy. And for those moments, even if my day was a shit, I was sitting down, I was creating my audio, I was just happy. I felt like I am being myself and this is me. And the other days when I was creating ebooks, I hated it. Like, I hate writing on the computer. I don't like design things. It's just not me. And over time, I could really feel light and heavy. I'm like, this is so heavy. I have to create this. I hate it. And then when I was doing the audios, I was just so happy. And I was like, you know what? I should really just switch to audios and then just be happy. So I started to do audios every single day. And then when my program ended, it was a 90-day program or something. Everyone is like, oh, Nicolette, I miss so much your audios. I want, can you do another program? Like, I love to wake up with your voice and then your stories and stuff. And I was like, maybe. And I did another month and we did another month. And then after that, I was like, I need to create something else. And I was sitting on a flight, flying to Andrew's SC class in Paris. And I was sitting there and I was asking myself, I'm like, okay, what do I want to do? What would be fun for me? And I realized, it would be so much fun to create an audio every single day and create, I don't know, membership. And my idea was creating a membership when you got the content and you feel, wow, I'm so brilliant. And I was like, oh, I should call it Brilliant Membership. And so it's a whole thing about 4.5 years ago. I create this audio every single day and I'm so happy. I went through so many bad things. I was, even recently. And it was just so interesting to see how much when I was feeling really bad, I sit down, I create my audio, I'm happy for that 20 minutes. And then when I'm done, I just go back to my universe. And it's just so cool to see, like, this is what is light for me. It's just so fun.
But also how much of that joy for you comes from being a contribution to others. And I just want to put that out there as a tool for people also, because how much when you get that, when you get cranky or you don't want to choose and you don't want to do anything different, is how connected do you feel to the world? You don't at all. It's all autonomy. So as soon as we're almost finished, I got to give you guys this, is when that stuff comes up, every time it comes up for me, all of the structures of autonomy, creating this, right, destroy and create it, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, povads, millions. And it's allowed me to be far more present with it, but also with what you just were talking about, it's how much joy does it bring all of us when you're being a gift to another, when you're actually being a contribution in the world rather than trying to separate from it. And so what if when that comes up also, you pock and pod this structures of autonomy, but also, what gift can I be? What gift can I allow myself to be today from the space of being? And just you can begin to change anything right now. It doesn't mean it will change right now. It may take you months. It's taken me years to get to some different things, and some things change quickly, some things don't. But you can begin to change anything right now if you're willing for it to. So what if all of life came to you with a lot more ease, joy, and glory?
True story. Thank you.
Thank you.
Last question. So you're gonna spend some time in Hungary, as I heard. Ooh.
You gonna tell them? We're gonna tell them about that.
Yeah, a little bit. Don't
Yeah, I
share.
get there soon.
Don't
I'm like,
overshare.
you know, get this, people. Okay, this is how special this is I am leaving Elugar to come to Hungary.
Budapest.
Okay, to come to Budapest. But I'm coming there. I'm doing a bars class, and I'm doing a bars class. I'm doing a 3-day body class. I'm actually doing an intro to the symphony class. Now I'm doing it with Max Zulek. And
Yeah,
it's
I know.
on the Global Symphony Day. And basically all you need to come to that is a bars class. And that shit's a rocket ship.
Hold on, because
ship.
you
you
have an ending for that, don't you?
Yeah, Tour Budapest, or what is it? Budapest Tour?
No? I'm not sure. I'm on your website.
We will add it in here.
Okay.
We have a page for it. We have a landing page. But then I'm also coming to do a foundation right before in November.
Okay. I don't know if Audrey knows the link. Maybe she can share in the comment section. Sorry, Audrey, I know you translate, but sorry.
We'll be quiet for a moment.
So, wow, you do so many things. So you're doing the bars, you're doing 3-day body, you do the introduction. And also, if you guys want to meet Brandon, he's coming to my documentary launch.
Yep.
So,
yep. And I'm really looking forward to that. So thank you for inviting me and including me.
Yes, it's gonna be interesting because the whole thing is in Hungarian.
Yeah.
So you can sleep. The only person who speaks English is Dane.
I'm going to be listening to the energy of it, and I'm looking forward to it.
It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
It's so cool. So you're coming on the 13th. I see you on the 14th, and your class is on. When is your class?
16th is the bars class, and then the 3-day body class is after that. I hope I'm correct with that. You know,
I hope I'm correct with it. Do you have some space? Because I can go and look, because I saw your post in the Access Consciousness group, so we can share it
here. Yeah. And I'm trying to find the
I'm searching, but I don't.
I am trying to find the.
I will find this. I think I have it. You know what?
Anyway,
I have all the links.
But also, I have a Hungarian Telegram chat. You guys can join that. I really wish that I had somebody on here adding links. That would have been amazing. But apparently that didn't happen.
No worries. I find the links. So I can, if you have a moment, I'm just posting here all the links because I found them. Amazing. Thank you, Brenda. It was a nice conversation. We can't wait to see you in Budapest. Maybe you moved to Budapest, don't you?
Are you on mute, or can I just not hear you?
You can't hear me? No?
Why can I not hear you?
I don't know. I hope you guys can hear me. Send me a message.
I can't.
No one can hear me. Well, funny.
Now I can.
Okay. You good?
Good. Oh, look at you go. Thank you for adding all of that. That's amazing.
It was me. Yeah. So we have even more. I have another link for your bars class. I'm going to put it in here. Perfect. You're amazing. Then I have also something else. Hold on. Give me a second. because you have a SOP intro. Everyone can come to the SOP intro.
You have to have done a bars class, but you can come to the bars class and then come to the SOP intro. But there's a lot of you guys in Hungary that have done bars classes. Oh man! And if you haven't done a bars class, you got to check that out. Oh,
amazing! Thank you, Brandon. It was a really nice conversation. So you are staying for 9 more days in El Lugar?
Yeah, until the 12th. Yeah, something like that. 8 or 9 more days, and then I'm gonna be with you guys. Oh my goodness!
Can't wait to see you.
I can't wait to see you, and your documentary and all that stuff. It's just awesome.
Are you coming to the office too? You're gonna hang out with us?
You know I'm gonna have to.
Awesome.
I know you guys will make me. Like I have choice in that.
You can come and work with us a little bit. I can imagine you walking into the office with your computer and then sitting down and working. You would die. You would be just like laying on the sofa talking to me and Christy all day.
Exactly.
Yeah, you should come in because my guys are amazing.
Yeah,
they're just so cool. So you should come in. We have a massage table. A couple of them.
There you go.
So thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Audrey, for the amazing Hungarian translation.
Yes, thank you.
You're the best. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for joining us. See you somewhere around. See you in Brandon's 3D body class or bars class or SOP intro with Max.
Are you guys coming to that still? Is that what's happening?
I think we don't.
You don't come to it? You are coming to it.
Me? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I didn't want, like, I was like,
I'm putting you on the spot.
We did. Let's, I text you later.
Okay, text me later. See, Nicolette will be there. So I'll make her. I will be making her ass get there.
You're gonna make my ass be there? Okay.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
So come, guys, and join us. It's gonna be too much fun, way too much fun. And thank you so much for spending Friday night with us. Have a wonderful weekend for you, and enjoy yourself and enjoy some freedom.
You. And thank you, Nicolette. You're a wonderful friend and a wonderful gift. I'm very grateful.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you all. Mwah.
Mwah.